How's it going, guys? Tony back with another riveting edition of BCG Thoughts, where I share my unedited and unadulterated thoughts and opinions on certain topics or subjects I feel highly about and really just want to address. Now, the first video I did like this did pretty well. It got some decent views, and a lot of you put in the comments that you would like to see this segment more often, and I really would like to do this more prolifically. I enjoy just shooting the shit with you guys and addressing certain topics that might not pertain to movies or animes, or may pertain to movies and animes, and not having to make it all fancy and proper, just me talking to a camera straight through and just sharing my thoughts and opinions on things. And I got this really interesting post from one of my subscribers, Mario Tainaka. He's been a very faithful subscriber for many years, and I really appreciate you sticking around, Mario, and thank you for this post. He tagged me in a post he put on the Black Critic Crew community fan page on Facebook. And if you haven't checked out that page, it's a really cool page for people who are subscribed to the Black Critic Guy to just like talk with each other and ask each other questions. So if you haven't seen that, or if you have a Facebook and you're not a part of that group, I highly recommend maybe giving the group a check. They're pretty cool people. Anyway, so he tagged me in a post on that group page saying, "Yup, Tony is very evil and deranged for realizing how bad this movie is." And he posted a link to an article written, or not, I guess not written by the director, but an article talking about the director of Gods of Egypt lashing out at reviewers for the way they were critiquing and bashing his movie, or as he likes to call them, deranged idiots. And I just thought it'd be a goof to like read it verbatim and give you guys my reactions to what is being said in this article by the director, Alex Price, I believe. I hope that's how you pronounce his name. Anyway, so the article is from GameStop, or GameSpot. There'll be a link in the description to the article if you want to read it for yourself. But the article is titled, "After Flop, Gods of Egypt Director Lashes Out at Deranged Idiot Reviewers." It was posted yesterday. So the latest movie from Hunger Games studio Lionsgate. I love how they just say Hunger Games studio. It's not like even Hunger Games director. It's like the studio behind the Hunger Games. Like they've never made another movie. They never made another big successful movie or something. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The CGI-fueled Swords and Sandals film Gods of Egypt flopped at the box office during its opening this past weekend. Now its director, Alex Price, has published a fiery post on Facebook in which he lashes out at reviewers, or deranged idiots, as he calls them. Before it was even released, Gods of Egypt had already generated some amount of controversy for its perceived whitewashing with its cast. Perceived? It was blatant whitewashing. I mean, come on. Most of the characters are white. You barely have any mixed actors in the film. You had one black guy playing a god in a movie that takes place in Egypt, and it's about Egyptian gods. Perceived, blatant. Sorry, it's obvious. Price mentions in his post that some people formed an opinion about the movie before it was even released, and he doesn't like that. You know what opinion I formed before seeing the film, Price? Here's literally my opinion. That movie looks cheesy, it looks over the top, but it could be fun. It could be like a really fun popcorn action movie. And I'm gonna go give it a watch. In fact, funny enough, I didn't even consider the whitewashing until after I saw the film. After seeing the film, I thought to myself, yeah, there were a lot of white people in that movie, wasn't there? So I don't know what you're talking about. My opinion before seeing the film was actually very positive. I thought it was just gonna be a fun action movie, but it turned out to be a boring, tiring piece of shit. That's the truth, man. That is the truth. Alright, moving on. "Nothing confirms rampant stupidity faster," Price starts off saying, "than reading reviews of my own movie. I usually try to avoid the experience, but this one takes the cake. Yeah, after all the other movies I've done, this is the movie where I decided to read the reviews, the shitty movie I made. This is when I want to start lashing out at people. Okay. Often, to my great amusement, a critic will mention my past films in glowing terms. Now, in my review, I didn't mention the director at all because I didn't really know who he was, Alex Price. But after reading this article, they do kind of like say what movies he's made, The Crow and I, Robot. And I believe Jeremy Jahns also pointed out that he made The Crow and I, Robot. So I didn't know that before going into this movie. I didn't know who he was. And knowing who he is now, I would also refer to his past films in glowing terms. I loved I, Robot. It was one of my favorite films growing up. I enjoyed The Crow. I wouldn't say it was the greatest movie. It's good for its time and stuff, so that's what I have to say. I know he's directed other movies, but those are the two that I remember people talking about. I'm sure this article might say a little bit more, but we'll have to wait and see. Moving on now. When at the time those same films were okay, so a critic will mention my past films in glowing terms when at the time those films were. I must be reading this wrong. Often, to my great amusement, a critic will mention my past films in glowing terms when at the time those same films were savaged. Okay. As if to highlight the critic's flawed belief of my descent into mediocrity. So, what I'm getting from this sentence is that in their reviews now, they would mention how great his past films were, even though at the time those films came out, they were also savaged. I guess they were doing a whole comparison, like, compared to I, Robot, Gods of Egypt looks like complete and utter shit. I guess that's what he's trying to do it. But, buddy, there's definitely a huge sign of your descent into mediocrity. I mean, iRobot might have been the start as you were pushing heavily to CGI. I mean, there were a lot of CGI robots, CGI action scenes, but it was riveting, it was fun, and the story was interesting. I can't say the same for Gods of Egypt. I mean, it freaking looks like a video game, buddy. It looks like a video game. Hell, it's like The Mummy meets a PS2 video game. Like The Mummy meets Prince of Persia. There. The Mummy meets Prince of Persia. Okay, moving on. You see... Oh, this is my favorite part of the article. You see, my fellow F-bookers. Who refers to people on Facebook as F-bookers? What? I've never heard anyone use the phrase F-booker before. My dear fellow F-bookers, that just sounds like somebody who's so out of touch nowadays. He could just say my audience. He could just say my fellow people, my peeps. You don't have to say my F-bookers. It's not like YouTube where you could call people YouTubers and stuff. In fact, shit, you could call them YouTubers or content creators. No one calls people on Facebook F-bookers. No one does that. That's just so silly. Caught me off guard. Anyway, moving on. You see, my fellow F-bookers, I have rarely gotten great reviews on any of my movies, apart from those by reviewers who think for themselves and make their own opinions. So this is him lashing out at critics who apparently follow what the popular opinion is instead of thinking for themselves. And just to be fair, I always refrain from seeing anybody's review of a movie before I see the movie first, so that my opinion doesn't get altered by someone else's opinion. It stays fresh, it stays my opinion, you know. I don't get it altered by somebody else's opinion because I heard their opinion on something. I like to go in blind, not knowing what other people think, just knowing what I perceive of the film. Anyway, moving on, let's move on. Sadly, those type of reviewers are nearly all dead. Where's your proof? Where's your proof that these types of reviewers who think for themselves and make their own opinion are dead? I think there are still many of us out there. You're just not looking, or you're just a little butthurt because your movie got a lot of bad reviews and it flopped at the box office. Can we just be honest? You're just butthurt. You're butthurt and you're trying to fan the flames of the rage that people have for your film. Be honest. He added, good reviews often come many years after the movie has opened. No one's going to be giving this movie great reviews in the near future. I can promise you that. It's gonna end up in a bargain bin in a local 7-Eleven, and that's all that will remain of Gods of Egypt. No one's gonna be like, you know what? I really got what that film was trying to say this time. No one's gonna say that. No one's gonna say that. Just be honest with yourself, Alex. Alright. Good reviews? Okay. I guess I have a knack of rubbing reviewers the wrong way. Always have. This time, of course, they have bigger axes to grind. They can rip into my movie while trying to make their mainly pale asses look so politically correct by screaming whitewashed. Like the deranged idiots they all are. That's a generalization. My ass is not pale. It's quite black. I could show it to you if you want, Alex. I pull my pants down right for you and say, hey, look, a black ass. Oh-ho. And I didn't even want to address the whole whitewash issue, but the thing is, in this day and age, it's something that does need to be addressed because we're getting sick and tired of of Hollywood just constantly whitewashing characters of different ethnicities. If you don't want people to yell about it, fix the problem. Then we'll shut up. That's all you gotta do. Fix the problem and we'll shut the fuck up. Okay? Just say. And it's not about being politically correct. It's because we're agitated. I wasn't saying whitewash to be politically correct. I was screaming whitewash because that's what you did. You took these characters who are from a different culture, from a different area in the world, and you personified them as European white people. I mean, what do you want, buddy? And then one Aussie, of course. One Aussie. You don't forget the Aussie. What do you want? What do you want me to say, dude? No, not an Aussie. Sorry. I thought Gerard Butler was from Australia. No, he's European too. He's from Ireland. No, he's Scottish. He's Scottish. God, I'm just fucking up today. Anyway, let's move on now. Now here's where they tell us what he's directed. Price, who also directed 2004's I, Robot, went on to say that these critics, in his estimation, failed to understand or choose to pretend not to understand what Gods of Egypt was really supposed to be. That being done, he says, so as to serve some bizarre consensus of opinion which has nothing to do with the movie at all. Okay, if you're gonna say that people fail to understand or pretend not to understand what your movie was about, why not tell us then what the movie is about? Because I don't think anybody failed to understand or just pretended not to understand. They understood that you made a shitty movie. I think it's you who's having a hard time understanding, or you're just pretending pretending not to understand that you made a bad movie. And that's what most directors do. When they make a movie and it turns out to be bad, they're like, no, I didn't make a bad movie. You guys just didn't understand it. You know, it's much deeper and more complex than you actually think. Okay, you just don't get it. You don't get it. M. Night tried that for many years. Like when he failed with The Village, and when he failed with Lady in the Water, and he failed with The Happening. He's like, oh, you guys just didn't get what I was trying to do. You know, I was trying to be deep and thoughtful. It means stuff, you know? That's not an excuse. And if you're going to make that claim, you better fucking back it up. You better explain what we didn't understand. What did we not understand? That the movie's about a god that is basically Simba reincarnate, who is banished and has to fight his uncle Scar in order to take back Egypt and make it all better with the help of Aladdin. I mean, that's what the movie seemed like to me. Now, the Aladdin bit I took from, of course, all the other reviewers, Jeremy Johns and stuff. I didn't even make the connection until somebody pointed it out to me. I'm like, wow, that is actually pretty interesting. He is kind of like Aladdin, but not that much. All right, let's move on. I've been rambling too much. The director further claims the controversy that Gods of Egypt saw before release meant that people couldn't see the movie with an open mind. Okay, I kind of agreed with that. So there are a lot of like PC people out there today, feminazis and SJWs, who will basically just attack, lash out at a movie without even giving it a chance. You know, I agree with that. Some people will just write a movie off just because they whitewashed it and stuff, and that's fair. You know, I hear that complaint. People definitely will go in with a set mindset and just like, I'm gonna hate this movie even though. Some of us, and I hope most critics, go in with an open mind. I go in to every movie I see with an open mind, besides if I see an M. Night Shyamalan movie ever again, which probably will never happen. Moving on. He also said there exists a problem within film reviewing that is bigger than his movie alone. Lock a critic in a room with a movie no one has ever seen and they will not know what to make of it, he says. I sit in my room watching anime all day, every day, and I still can make my own opinions. So, yeah, you failed there. Just saying, just saying. Because contrary to what a critic should probably be, they have no personal taste or opinion because they are basing their views on the status quo. When do I ever base my opinions on the status quo? I got fucking berated for my thoughts on Kung Fu Panda, which everybody apparently loved. I didn't. Okay, Alex? You're just butthurt. Can you just say at the end of this article, just say that I'm butthurt? That's the only reason I'm writing this post. I'm butthurt because everybody bitched about my film and they hate it. They hate it. That's basically, that's the whole point. That is the whole point. Not everybody follows the status quo. Get that through your fucking head. None of them are brave enough to say, well, I liked it. Well, first of all, a reviewer that just says, well, I liked it, it should not be a reviewer because they should explain what were the pros and what was the cons. Somebody that says, well, I liked it is a common viewer. That's it. Someone that's just like, I don't really want to think too much about the film. I enjoyed it for what it is. My brother would say a comment like that. Well, I liked it. It was all right. You know, that's simple. A reviewer cannot just say, oh, I liked it. There needs to be a little bit more to it. If it goes against consensus. Again, with the whole, you know, we have to just, we never walk to the beat of our own drum. I forgot what that phrase is. Anyway, therefore, they are less than worthless. Ouch. What a, burn. That's probably the biggest burn of 2016 right there, people. Now that anyone can post their opinion about anything from a movie to a pair of shoes to a hamburger, what value do they have? Nothing. Well, now that anybody can basically make a film, write a film, post it on the internet, what are you trying to say? Like, what value does a film have? Nothing. Again, it's a generalization. You gotta weed out all the shit reviews and actually find the good ones, the decent ones, the ones that actually have critical thinking in them, buddy. I feel like you were just like on Facebook or Twitter and just reading a bunch of people making simple ass posts saying, I hated this movie because I hated this movie. You know, like, did you ever like go to an article or look some videos up on YouTube where people actually go and dissect your film bit by bit verbatim? Those are the reviews you need to be paying attention to, not the common people thought. I mean, seriously, like if you're gonna attack, don't bundle up reviewers, don't bundle up critics with like the mainstream audience. There's a difference. The mainstream audience, they'll hear a critic out, but they'll be like, oh, I'll watch it if I want to watch it. The critics are in a whole different area, dude. They actually have to put a little more effort into making a review. Most people who just watch a movie, they just say, oh, I liked it, or I hate it, or I don't really think about it. I don't like this. He's making so many generalizations in this article, and it kind of just pisses me off. Let's move on. Roger Ebert wasn't bad. He was a true film lover at least. Oh, so what you're saying, I'm not a true film lover, Jeremy's not a true film lover, Chris isn't. None of us are genuine film lovers. We're just people that want to get other people's attention and we make reviews just to appease a certain crowd. That's all. It's not because we love film, even though we constantly say how much we love film. That's why we critique it. Wow. Way to put Roger Ebert on a fucking pedestal just because he's dead. A failed filmmaker, which gave him great deal of insight. His passion for film was contagious and he shared it with his fans. He loved films and his contribution to cinema as a result was positive. Now we have a pack of diseased vultures pecking at the bones of a dying carcass, trying to peck to the rhythm of the consensus. I applaud any film goer who values their own opinion enough not to base it on what the pack mentality says is good or bad. Well, see, the pack mentality is that your film is bad, and most critics agree with that. So you put us at an unfair advantage because we are agreeing with the consensus, but on the basis that we also are forming our own opinions of how shitty the film is. We just we agree with everybody else. We're all in agreement that the movie sucks. Like that's all it is. Gods of Egypt, starring 300's Gerard Butler, open, blah, 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 whatever, tired. Anyway, that's the end of that article. Oh, so, I hear what he's saying, and yes, he makes a few valid points about people jumping to conclusions and basing their own opinions on what everyone else is saying in the zeitgeist and the internet and all that stuff. You make a valid point there. But not all critics are like that. Maybe the new ones, like new ones, are like that, where they feel like they have to follow the river. They can't go on their own path. They have to kind of feed what their audience wants them to hear, you know. But not every reviewer is like that. Hell, like I said, as I was reading that, I've made a few reviews that a lot of people hated, like they didn't agree with me on. They're like, you're terrible. Why'd you think that of this film? Or why'd you hate this anime? And although I understand their hatred, I'm not going to change my opinions because they all feel differently. I'm going to stick by my own opinions. And just because we're all in agreement that your movie sucked doesn't mean we're just following the consensus. We're following the path, you know? We're in the in crowd and stuff. We just all agree that your movie sucked. That's like saying, like, if M. Night bitched about people complaining about The Last Airbender, saying that critics just didn't understand it and they're just feeding into the crowd, you know, what the popular opinion is, well, you're half right and you're half wrong. Yes, we are feeding into the opinion that your movie sucked, but we have valid arguments and criticisms for how your movie sucks. We don't just say it sucks because it sucks. That's not a valid argument. That's not a valid criticism. We say it sucks because your CGI is awful, your action scenes are dull, the adventure is not fun, and your characters are hollow. That's why we say your movie sucks. And it has nothing to do with the whitewashing. That might be what some of the PC warriors will say is the reason your movie sucked, but I'm not one of them. I had an issue that you whitewashed the characters, but as I said in my review, it's not about the color of the actors or actresses' skin, it's the content of the performance, and their performances were terrible, Alex. They were terrible. Just admit it. That's all you have to say. And I said I would kind of touch upon the whole diversity issue and stuff. And I know a lot of you are sick and tired of hearing about, oh, we need to push for more diversity in film. Oh, why wasn't there enough black people nominated at the Oscars? Oh, where are all the ethnic people in these movies? I had somebody post on my Gods of Egypt review that he didn't even watch the whole review because once he heard me talk about the whitewashing, he's like, no, I'm done. I don't want to hear it. And that kind of pissed me off. For many reasons. But the one thing that I said to him, and this is how I'm going to end the video now, the one thing I said to him was that you're sick and tired of hearing it, but we're sick and tired of living it. Let that sink in your mind. Anyway, so sorry this was a much longer video and I did ramble here and there. I had a lot to say and this is my first time trying to do a reaction onto something. Hopefully it sounded intelligible. Hopefully I didn't sound like a rambling idiot. I probably sounded like a rambling idiot. But Who cares? I enjoyed doing it. Let me know your thoughts about the article if you read it too. Do you agree with him or do you agree with me that he's just making generalizations and not really he's not even defending his points. He sucks as a reviewer. He can't even defend his points. Like, what is so deep about his movie? What made his movie so great? He's basically just, he's one of those people that makes hate videos against other content creators, but doesn't even give valid arguments as to why that content creator sucks. He just says, oh, I hate PewDiePie because I hate the PewDiePie. He's terrible. I hate the PewDiePie. Why do you hate the PewDiePie? I mean, why are you mad at all the critics? What makes your film so great? Alex, if you're gonna do that, defend your movie. Don't attack or berate critics. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Sorry the video was long. If you'd like to see more videos, if you would like me to comment on another article, whether it pertains to movies, animes, or politics, religion, whatever, put them in the comments. I'll love to read about them. And yeah, that's the end of this video, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace!